What if your life sucks because you see yourself, other people, and the world in a very distorted way? You see it in a black and white way, or a black or white way, a this or that way. There is no middle ground. I got a comment on one of my videos because in the video I believe I was talking about black and white thinking, but I like to call it black or white thinking because it is either this or that. And the person asked me to talk about black or white thinking, and I believe its origins and also how to fix it or heal from it. So that's going to be the theme of this video. I've actually been meaning to make this video for a long time because I've gotten many requests on different videos that I can make for people because these videos are helpful. And I'm honestly grateful for that. If there are any videos that anybody wants me to make, please comment down below. I love making videos and I love getting requests to make videos for people. It's a lot of fun for me. So, black or white thinking, let's look at its origins first and foremost. And in order to explore its origins, what I'm going to do is actually explore lyrics from a song from one of my favorite bands. The song is Lateralis and the band is Tool. In the song Lateralis, basically what is said is black or white is all I see in my infancy, red and yellow then came to be. Black or white is rooted in infancy. So, literally, from the moment an infant is born to about, I don't know, anywhere past infancy, from that time frame is when a human sees everything, literally everything, in black or white. Now, the fascinating thing about this is that that's just the way that things are for infants in infancy. If a child develops in a healthy way, that child moves out of black or white thinking and moves into a way of seeing things in much more of a combined a gray dynamic. You don't just see everything as this or as that, as good or as bad, as all or nothing. You see things in a balanced way. And the fascinating thing is that if you were to take both the colors white and black and you put them together, it would make gray. So people that are caught up in black or white thinking, they see things in extremes. They see it as all or nothing, as good or bad. If somebody that is caught up in black or white thinking and they look at, people, they will likely see people as either all good or all bad. But people are neither all good or all bad. People are neither good nor bad. They're just people. People have behaviors. Those behaviors are usually either unhealthy or healthy, or they might be somewhere on the spectrum. And I understand that that would also look like good or bad, right? Healthy, unhealthy. But the reality is, somebody's behaviors are usually either healthy or unhealthy. Now, the thing is, the reason why it's important to utilize this measurement is because it actually tells you something about the person. If you utilize the measurement of good or bad, it doesn't tell you anything about the person because it's not good or bad is not really a thing. Is this person good or are they bad? They're neither. What is their behaviors? Their behaviors is that they project their shit out onto other people. Oh, that is unhealthy. Why? Because they lack healthy boundaries. And with that, they take their stuff and they give it to other people when it actually fucks up their relationships. That's the reality of it. Now, black or white thinking might be a very subtle thing for people, and it might be something that they're not even aware of. People are neither good nor bad. You are neither good nor bad. The world is neither good nor bad. The better measurement that can be utilized is healthy or unhealthy, because it actually tells you something. If somebody had a healthy childhood, they likely have healthy boundaries. They've likely individuated. They've likely differentiated. With that, they're far more likely to carry out healthier relationships. They don't project all of their shit out onto other people, because if they did, they would be considered unhealthy. It is unhealthy to project your shit out onto other people. It is healthy to deal with your shit in a boundaried way where you bring it to a licensed professional who can help you work through that stuff, rather than bringing it into your relationships and throwing all of your shit at other people. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants your shit. Maybe your shit is painful. That's what it is. It is your job to be responsible with your shit and to keep it boundaried and to bring it to a licensed professional who actually knows what they're doing. That's the reality of it. So, to better understand how you would go about getting out of black or white thinking, first and foremost, understand that this is rooted in infancy. It's not just a song that can show us that this is rooted in infancy. This is in clinical psychology. This is the reality of the matter. It is shown through studies that this is the way that humans develop from start to wherever the hell they finish. In infancy, we see things in a very black or white way. As we grow, as we evolve, we stop seeing things that way if we are raised in a healthy way. If we're not, then we do see things in a black or white way, and hopefully we can grow out of that, usually through therapy. And now not the final thing, but one of the most important things to understand here, I do have a lot more to talk about in this video. One of the most important things to understand here is that so many people learned to see themselves, other people in the world, by caretakers or parents that were emotionally underdeveloped. If you learned that you're a bad object, meaning that you're a bad person, it's because your parents or caretakers taught you that you were. If you learned that the world is a bad place and that it's filled with so much bad shit, it's because you were taught that by people that are, or were, maybe they changed, emotionally immature. So let's make this very clear, because this is another thing that's very important to understand about this. If you see yourself, other people, and the world in a very black or white way, this is not an attack on anybody. This is just clinical fact. That's the way that this is. Or I guess you could call it clinical opinion. But if you see yourself, other people, and the world in a very black or white way, you are emotionally underdeveloped. You are emotionally immature. Why? Well, because to see things in a very black or white way would mean infancy. And now, depending on how you were traumatized, depending on when you were traumatized, depending on where you were traumatized, if you were traumatized in infancy severely, the likelihood that you were emotionally stagnated there is very high. What does this mean? It means that between the age of 0 and 1, maybe, around there, and it could have even been past that as well. The earlier you're traumatized, the more likely it is that you're going to see yourself, other people, and the world in a very distorted way. Especially around infancy. If you were traumatized as an infant, we all are in some way, but some people's trauma is, and this is not a thing of like comparison. Somebody else's trauma is, more than less than black or white. This is not a matter of measuring someone's trauma and making it out to be better or worse than somebody else's. This is a matter of just recognizing everything for what it is. If you were severely traumatized in infancy, the likelihood that you see yourself, other people, and the world in a very black or white way, which is distorted, is very high. Again, you were stagnated in infancy, or somewhere around there. Maybe even after that, maybe even a couple of years after that, a few years after that. But that's why you see yourself, other people, and the world in a black or white way. Because your trauma stagnated you there. You were emotionally stagnated in infancy. Now, really, other than seeking professional guidance and therapy to help you move beyond this black or white thinking, literally just understanding that black or white thinking is only rooted in infancy. And in order to see life, in order to see yourself, in order to see people, in order to see the world in a much more balanced way, it's more so about recognizing that this idea of good or bad doesn't really describe anything. Somebody's thoughts could be unhealthy, somebody's emotions. I wouldn't say that emotions are really I don't know. I don't know how to approach that. Let's just look at thoughts and behaviors. Emotions are more so a result of reflection and looking at something, usually through thought, usually even through behaviors. Thoughts and behaviors, they could be healthy, they could be unhealthy. It is, like I was saying before, it is unhealthy to lack healthy boundaries, kind of obviously. It is unhealthy to lack healthy boundaries, and with that, project your shit out onto somebody else. Maybe you feel shame. And because you lack healthy boundaries, you project that shame out onto other people. Oh, you should be ashamed of yourself. That's unhealthy. You're projecting your shame out onto somebody else. And so it's very important to understand that these are the things that come with emotional stagnation in infancy, in childhood, and all of that stuff. Starting to see the world in a much less all or nothing, good or bad, black or white way is really the key, the ticket out of this. The world is neither good nor bad. People are neither good nor bad. You are neither good nor bad. You may have learned that you're this terrible, awful person. You're not. You're not. You probably learned that from somebody who thought that about themselves that way. And that's the reality of it. Again, black or white thinking is a facet of infancy. It's the very first way that you develop looking at yourself, at your parents, your gods, referring to your parents, of course, other people, life, the world. This is the way that you first learned to look at everything, black or white. If something happened in that phase of your life that traumatized you, that emotionally stagnated you there, that's likely why you see yourself, other people, and the world in a black or white way. Because you were emotionally stagnated there. Now, it is your responsibility to take care of your shit in a professional setting with a therapist that knows what they're doing. You will fuck up your relationships if you lack necessary emotional health and you lack healthy boundaries, you lack the individuation, the differentiation, and you project your shit onto somebody else, or you make somebody else responsible for something that you are actually responsible. That will fuck up your relationships. But really, in this last bit of this video, let's focus on healing the black or white thinking and seeing things in a much more balanced way. Because life, you, other people, the world, are not this or that. It's not extremes of all or nothing. A person is not either all good or all bad. Oh, it is very important to talk about something actually in this video before I end it off. One of the most common dynamics that we see in emotionally immature relationships is idealization, and then its opposite, devaluation. Or you could say idolization and demonization. So this is when you look at somebody, like I was saying before, this is still the same thing as black or white. Idolization. What do we do with celebrities? We idolize them. We put them up on a pedestal. We think that they're this incredible thing and they're absolutely flawless. Look at the way that we responded to Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters when the word came out that he had had an affair and actually got a woman pregnant outside of wedlock and even decided to have the kid. We idolize people. We make people out to be like incredible beyond what they actually are. And then when we find out something like that, oh, that person's a piece of shit. You know, first they're the greatest thing in the fucking world. Oh my god, this person's a god. No, they're not. They're a human. You're just idolizing them. You're just placing them on a pedestal. You're placing them as more than human. And then when they do one thing that you don't like, all of a sudden they're the worst thing in the fucking world. This is a facet of black or white thinking, which is rooted in infancy. People that were emotionally stagnated in a phase of life, usually around infancy or a little after, they learned to idolize people. And then the fascinating thing is that they use demonization or devaluation to, this is a defense mechanism, to ease, to soothe the pain that they experienced of actually believing that this person was somehow beyond human. So first it's idolization, first it's idealization. Oh my god, this person's fucking incredible. Could they be more than human? Could they be more than human? Oh my god, I think they're more than human. Oh my god, they're fucking amazing. I'm gonna put them on this pedestal and I'm gonna see them in ways that are fucking distorted, but I don't see it as distorted because I don't see the flaw for what it is. I don't see the distortion for what it is. They're fucking amazing. Oh my god, they're on a pedestal. I'm gonna keep them on a pedestal. Wait a second. They did what? Infidelity? Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck them. Fuck that person. Off the fucking pedestal. You're trash. You're garbage. You're a piece of shit. Fuck you. I can't believe you fucking did that. You're fucking disgusting. See the absurdity in it? And now the fascinating thing, let me kind of, because I just realized this. I just realized this. The fascinating thing about this whole dynamic is, why are we so, I get it. I totally get it. It's kind of like intertwined, interwoven in our culture. Why are we so invested in people that we don't know? You know, it's like it's fascinating to me. Like when you look at it, it's like, wow, yeah, we are actually exceedingly invested in people that we don't know. We know things about people that we don't know, that you know, it's like whoa. And of course only because things like, you know, pop culture sources, you know, I don't know, reporters that go out and find out stuff and then they report it to us, and then we learn things about people that we don't even know personally, people that we idolize, people that we think are gods and just perfect. It's like, no, they're not. So this is what we do with celebrities. This is sometimes what we do with our close personal relationships. We make people out to be more than they are. We pedestal them, and then we want to throw them down to hell when we're pissed when we find out that they did something that we don't like, but only because we saw them in a way that was previously distorted. People are not good or bad. People do things behavior wise that are unhealthy, like projecting their shit out onto other people because they lack healthy boundaries. But people are not good or bad. It's not a balanced way. It's not even an accurate way of looking at yourself, other people, or the world. People are just people. That's all that it is. If you don't like their behavior, it doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that the person is bad. It does mean that the behavior might be unhealthy if you don't like it. If you do understand what emotional health is, and healthy boundaries and individuation and differentiation are. But other than that, you are not good or bad. You might be unhealthy depending on your emotional health. Other people might be unhealthy depending on their emotional health. The world might halfway be unhealthy depending on different things that are happening and the collective emotional health of a certain percentage of people, but it's not good or bad or right or wrong. I really hope that this is understood, and I might actually have to make another video on this because the topic is just so fucking massive. So just to end off real quick in this last minute, Black or white thinking, also known as black and white thinking, but I prefer to call it black or white thinking because it's this or that. It's rooted in infancy because that is the first way that we learn to look at everything in life as an infant. Black or white, this or that, good or bad, all or nothing. It is literally the id, the id in and of itself. Wow, I totally didn't mention that until until this. I'll take a couple more minutes just to really finish this off. So, just to real quick look at Freudian psychology, psychoanalytic theory, the id is the very first thing that is born in any individual. Then over time, the ego state develops, and then the superego as well. The id is this all or nothing survival, life or death entity that first begins to take place. The id is the all or nothing entity. It is concerned solely with life or death. When it is severely traumatized in infancy, it gets emotionally stagnated there. This is why people end up being grown ass physical adults, whether men or women, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. You could have a fucking 90-year-old that looks at themselves or other people or the world or life as good or bad, all or nothing, right or wrong. That's the reality of it. And the reality of it is that that person was emotionally stagnated in an area of life, usually exceedingly early on, even like months, the very first months of an infant's life. They were emotionally stagnated there, and they never did the work to correct it. So they just continued to look at themselves, other people, and the world as good or bad, right or wrong, which it's not. It's distorted. It's not an accurate way of looking at things. Cognitive distortions. And then, because they didn't do the work to do anything about it, they passed it down on to their children, who passed it down on to their children. Intergenerational fucked upness. That's the reality of it. So seeing everything for what it is, not being blinded by good or bad or right or wrong or all or nothing. This is why you see people in relationships go into relationships with all or nothing dynamics. They put everything in a very short period of time, and then it all fucking falls apart. It's because they're emotionally stagnated. They're immature emotionally. They go into relationships with an all or nothing dynamic. I'm going to put everything into it right off the bat. Fuck, it fell apart really fast. Well, yeah, it did because you're emotionally immature, you lack healthy boundaries, you lack an understanding of necessary, healthy intimacy, which happens over the course of a long period of time, not in a matter of a fucking week or a month or a day. You ever meet somebody and they're like, in the very first 24 hours, oh my god, I love you so much. Yeah, that's gonna die real quick. That's gonna end really fast. That relationship, the time frame of that relationship is not going to be long at all. Healthy intimacy, knowing somebody else based on how well you know yourself takes fucking time, and people that were emotionally stagnated at a very early age in infancy that see everything in a black or white way, they tend not to have success in relationships because they're operating from the standpoint of the id that is entirely determined by survival, life or death. And so if they have, I will end off after this. If they have like this impulse, people, well, hold on a second. Have to say something real quick. People that are emotionally stagnated within that period of the id, they're far more likely to be impulsive and act on their emotions rather than stopping and thinking and being like, holy shit, this could severely fuck up my life. I should not do this. No, that just gets fucking bypassed. They are all in, all or nothing. And that's the reality of that. Yeah, I might have to make a second video of this because all this stuff is very fascinating. Again, if you want me to make any videos on things that you're curious about, things that you want to better understand, please drop a comment down below. Let me know what it is. I love all this stuff. I'm obsessed with psychology, and yeah, I hope that this video made things more clear. I probably will make a part 2 to this because it's just so fascinating.